So a year ago, I purchased this hutch to turn it into a coffee bar, but the distance between the top of the hutch base and the bottom shelf was too short for me to put my coffee pot in. So I bought this 1x2 from Menards, and I'm going to put it in underneath that top, in the corners, and then in the center. I'm going to leave 2 spaces where I would be able to run power cords out through the spaces. So I'm going to start by cleaning off my hutch. And then I'm going to lay the back of the hutch down on the base of the hutch. Hopefully I don't confuse myself today. Then at the bottom, they had those skid protectors that you would put on like the bottom of your chairs so you didn't scratch your floors. And this green felt scratch resistant stuff. I don't really know what you want to call it. So to get all of that off, I go in with my putty knife and I just start scraping to get it to start. There were some sections like right there where the green felt lifted off really easy. You could go in with sandpaper, low grit, I would suggest, just to get off that green stuff, but I just chose to scratch it off with my putty knife. Once I was able to get everything removed down to the wood, I needed to start measuring the base. So I only want to do an L piece on both ends, on the corners on each end. And then a little piece, I think I went with a 1 foot piece in the center. And I'm just showing you that the 1x2 is the same width as the base. So what I'm going to do is find the center, which just so happens to be where that center bolt is. And then I'm going to measure from the top edge on the side to the base, and I believe that was like 10 and a quarter inches. And then I take it outside to my Ryobi miter saw and I go ahead and I cut it, but I cut it to the outside of my line. That way I get the exact measurement that I need, because you have to take into consideration the width of your blade. Next, I need to figure out where I'm going to need to cut for the base of my L's and the centerpiece. So I come back inside so I can get out my measurements. So now I'm going to figure out the center board at 12 inches using that bolt as my center mark. And I'm going to mark the lines on the base where the 12-foot board piece that's going in the center is going to sit. So I can measure from the side toward the center to figure out where the back piece of the riser is going to be for that L shape I'm making. And I believe that ended up being 13 inches. So I'm going to mark it, and like before, I'm going to cut on the outside of the line, and I am going to cut 2 of these and a 12-foot piece for the center. Once all of that is done, I go back into the house, and I purchased a couple months ago a Craig jig. And this is going to be the first time I get to use my Craig jig, and you guys get to witness it. I did mess up the first time, but I'm going to say that that was beginner's bad luck. And the next one went together perfectly. And here is my beautiful Craig jig, because I do love me some tools. So here I am figuring it out, and you guys might get a good chuckle out of this. I use the how-to manual guide. So just to make sure I'm doing everything correctly, and I still messed up, but it wasn't terrible. It was fixable. So here I am lining it up with the lines that are on that top that I just pointed to. And then I go in with the Craig jig drill bit. I'm trying to give you a better angle there. And you go all the way down to the stopper. And then, isn't that beautiful? And then I'm going to put a little bit of that tight bond glue on. And then I screw in my Craig jig pocket screw. And these are so sturdy. They are just so sturdy, you guys. The Craig jig is worth whatever. And I did purchase mine on Amazon. And it is the Craig Jig 720. So here I'm going to go in and start painting. Now I'm gonna color match with what I have to the best that I could, and that was with the Waverly plaster. And I'm just going to paint the ends and the sides. On the first coat, I did forget to do the outside of the L brackets, but I do get it on the second coat. And once it's all done, I really do like the outcome. Once that's all done and dry, I do go in with some Waverly Nimbus. Now, when I purchased my Hutch, I did ask the lady who restyled the Hutch what they used to dry brush, and she said it was in fact the Waverly in the color Nimbus. So I did have that in my stash, and I went through. Now, I thought they were a little heavy-handed, and they were. I just tried to blend it in with the Hutch the way it is now, and the first coat went on and you could barely see it. So when I went in a little bit more heavier handed, it did blend out a little bit better. So again, I do like how this Hutch turned out. I love the fact that it is my wonderful coffee bar, and I don't have to have my coffee pot and my tea kettle sitting in it on my kitchen counter because I don't have a lot of counter space. Now here I am using my quick grip clamps, and I'm going to use those with the Type Bond original wood glue, and I'm going to put a healthy coating on to each of the pieces, and then with my Irwin quick grip clamps, sorry, tongue-tied there, I'm going to glue on the pieces. And the best thing with these clamps of mine is the fact that they will hold on the smallest of ledge. These small clamps are wonderful. I did buy them at a hardware store in PA, but I'm pretty sure you can buy these at any hardware store. I'm not sure, but I don't see why not. So once I have those clamped on, I go in with my fingers and I wipe off the glue, and then I take a damp cloth and wipe off the excess. So I allowed the glue to set up for 30 minutes because that is what it says on the Type Bond bottle. And then I pull my clamps and lift up and set my top down, and then you can see kind of there where the holes are for the cables. Now here's where I have lost footage. This is all I have is this dish drying mat that I bought at the dollar store, and I set that under my coffee pot, and here it is all decorated. Now I did do that light there in a previous video, and I will link that down below. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget, if you like what you see here, click that like button. Don't forget to click subscribe, and when the bell appears, click it and you'll be notified every time I upload a video. And don't forget, leave me a comment.